And who is excited for the formal dinner? I know I am. What an experience this has been, right? So, as you know, I did my master's in change management field. So for me, this has been very, very exciting. When I found that the role this year would be on the theme of leading and inspiring meaningful change, I jumped at it because I was that excited to be a part of understanding the change makers here as well. And I am truly inspired, and I would like to highlight that I have been inspired and I have learned so much, and being a fresh alum, I think it's very important that I got this chance, because at the end of the day, I think it has given me more perspective to focus my goals, refocus my goals, and do an in-depth on myself to maybe refocus my development initiatives as well. So thank you to all for inspiring me with your many, many projects that you are doing. And one more thing that I would like to highlight is that being here and getting to wrap up the day one, which I will be doing, and he will be focusing on day two today. So getting to wrap up that part is, as you know, as a change manager, I might have a different perspective on it all as well. So being in the change management field and being a change manager, it's very hard because more than 60% of change efforts fail in a year. So you can imagine the failure rate that I have to work with, because change efforts fail for many reasons, and deep diving into why change efforts fail is a very hard thing to do. So who remembers the keynote speaker yesterday, the keynote speaker one we had? Mr. Arnold, who described us comprehensively on the need for change, communicating the need for change, communicating change, and as well as having a vision and celebrating successes and even failures when managing change. To add something to that, I think we need to create an urgency for change. Once we create an urgency, being proactive rather than reactive to change is where truly transformation happens. Similarly, once we create that urgency and need for change, one thing that I really focus on is the need to find sponsors. What I mean here is, I think we all here have brilliant ideas, but at the end of the day, to execute it, we need volunteers, we need resources. So to get that, to find leaders who are inspired by the ideas that we have, that is very important. And as any change lead will tell you, we go into a project, the first thing we want to identify is, are the leaders on board? Because once the leaders are on board, then it becomes very easy for us to get the resources, and as well as rally the other people behind. Because people follow leaders, and it really helps us when the leaders are on board. We also learned from our second keynote speaker on Ms. Linya on overcoming barriers to change. Something that really drives change effort is having a good communication plan and having a good stakeholder engagement plan. What I mean is, who's going to speak out the key messages regarding the change? And who's going to give out the messages through what medium? How are they going to communicate with the people of the society, the community, or the organization itself? And through what medium? And who's going to question and who's going to offer clarity to those who are resisting the change? This is very important. So when communicating change, we need to have a plan to understand who's resisting the change and who's going to communicate the change to the resistant people as well. And another thing is, having a well-thought-out communication plan can do wonders when managing change. Similarly, change is for the people, right? So we need to engage them, motivate them, hold focus group discussions, hold engagement groups, hold as much as possible, involve the people who are going to get impacted by change. So that's one thing that we really focus on. And one key thing here is timing. If we don't get the timing right, it really affects the change, and it gets difficult to get rid of the change fatigue and change resistance that happens in any change program. So if we are not able to deliver the right communication, the right engagement at the right time, people start losing their faith in the program, and they really get resistant to the change. So our final speaker yesterday, Dr. Adham, talked about maximizing our impact when implementing a change, and he explained brilliantly through his LEAP model on maximizing the impact of a change program. So once we have created the urgency for change, the need for change, and communicated our vision, gathered sponsors, engaged our stakeholders, and kept a transparent communication flow ongoing, there are a few more things that I think we can do to maximize the impact. We need to always have a plan B. If this strategy doesn't work, then how can we tweak and make it better? So if I am working on a change project, I never go in with a set of rules that I'm going to do this on this time, but I sort of have a plan, set of plans, but I am open to making it more change, fluid plan. So that's one thing. And other than that, creating change champions is very important. If we are working with a society, engaging them and allowing the followers, the early followers, to be a part of the change and to be a part of the dialogue really helps rally other people behind you. And I think the other thing is celebrating quick wins. And I don't think this gets the love that it really deserves, because celebrating quick wins really helps people get on board. Like if you are, for example, trying to get followers or subscribers, reaching that 100 or 1,000 and celebrating it, even on a social media post, it really helps get people going and believing in you. So, and at the same time, get the right resources. If you are able to communicate and advocate for your change and the quick wins. And finally, sustaining the change. Once we implement something, we have a continuous process in place. In today's dynamic business environment, we can't just implement something and let it be. So sustaining that change through well thought out long-term goals is very important. And I think from all the development goals showcases that we had, we saw one or more of the few strategies that I just mentioned. And I would like to highlight that I'm truly honored, inspired, and humbled by all the change makers in this room today. To conclude, I would like to leave you with a quote which is very famous in this field, and I really love to live by this. For any change, you need a leader with an itch. Not a literal itch, but a desire to do something better, to change or to transform something. I hope all of us here prove to be just that in the future as well, a leader with an itch. Thank you.